Side 2 begins with the title track, Inside Information. The only other song in this album solely credited to Mick Jones, and this is an interesting one to say the least, fading in with what sounds like a drum machine playing as well as some faint bits of dialogue being uttered over, or rather beneath it. An organ-sounding keyboard soon kicks in, and so does Lou Gramm's vocals, as he sings about one man to the left, one man to the right, one man in the middle, one man dressed in white, one man in the east, one man from the west, and one man under house arrest. That's like 7 or 8 men right there. Get hooked on the power, gotta stay in the game. That's right, mates. Get hooked on the power. Nintendo power. The lady waits so patiently for the call as she knows just what you need. And as the chorus sums up, she can give you inside information at a very high price. Information that could change your whole life overnight in a minute. So, with the mention of this lady and talk of insider info, is the woman on the cover art itself supposed to be this lady the song sings of? Who knows? This title, along with that of the previous album, Agent Provocateur, and Four's original title, Silent Partners, all do sound like phrases you'd hear and associate with a spy or secret agent film like the James Bond movies. In fact, imagine if Foreigner ever did a Bond song. If the likes of Duran Duran and Aha could do one each, Foreigner wouldn't be too out of place for that kind of thing. With such insider info, you can get money and power and all that, but it could also leave you waiting for that hammer to fall. And as Queen could put it comes to you as to us all. We're all just waiting for the hammer to fall. And of course, we still get another cool guitar solo, acting as a middle 8-bit for the song. The titular track of Inside Information is quite emotional and even a bit ominous, like Say You Will, which I think fits the overall mood of the album and sums it up pretty well. Next is The Beat of My Heart, the longest song of the album at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. This starts off with a rather calm and soothing Spanish guitar played by Hugh McCracken, who had worked with the likes of Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, Gary Wright, Steely Dan, Simon & Garfunkel, Hall & Oates, and many more to even count. Then, at just 40 seconds in, we get an electric guitar rocking off a good riff before Dennis Elliott's drums and Nick Will's bass come along as well. In this AC/DC light track, Lou sings about always being here and close to you, but you won't see him on the streets or underground. Instead, you'll find him in the local curry restaurant where he's waiting for you on a date. You can look around and listen out, but you won't find him beyond the shadow of a doubt. Turns out he's actually Ivor the Invisible and he wants to give you a big birthday surprise. In the chorus, he says you've been living in another world ever since he met you, but he doesn't want to treat you like a little girl since he knows you better, and if you listen closely to the beat of his heart, you'll find your way home and you won't be lonely. However, if you still can't hear his heartbeat, you might have to check his pulse first, otherwise you'll forever remain homeless. Tough luck. Anyways, this is another easygoing rock and roll track from Foreigner that deserves a better listen and appreciation in my opinion, and it has a pretty good beat going with it. Then we go from the longest track to the shortest with Face to Face. Not to be confused with Daft Punk's song of the same name, or a dozen other songs and albums with the same title by many other bands and artists. This song's length is about a few seconds short of 4. In this pop rock track, Lou sings how we never talk to one another and we just disagree. which pretty much sums up a lot of social media the more I think about it. I'm the one who runs for cover, and you turn your back on me. It seems playing as a team on Call of Duty hasn't been their forte either. They say nothing's gonna last forever, but some things are worth fighting for. Like a girl worth fighting for? Love could bring us back together, but love don't come round here no more. Actually, it's because love had to move to another country in order to evade taxes. And in the choruses, Lou says, you never want to meet him face to face. It's time we saw each other face to face. It ain't too late to meet face to face, etc. As if to say that the best way to actually solve such conflicts is to actually meet and properly communicate with each other and talk it all over. Again, I can guarantee, as unlikely as it may seem, this could solve a lot of arguments on Twitter and other social media platforms. Or probably make them worse, 50-50 chance. And while some of the other previous songs here have some good guitar solos, this one features a keyboard solo for a change, which I guess is interesting and kind of unique for what it is, even if, again, it goes by in between the repeating choruses by the last third. The song as a whole, or specifically the chorus, does remind me a little bit of Psychobabble by the Alan Parsons Project, at least in terms of beat, melody, and rhythm. While nothing too special, Face to Face is fine enough to listen to face to face. After that is Out of the Blue, the title of which, along with Heart Turns to Stone, would be a foreshadowing of sorts for what shall come at the end of this year. This is the only track of Inside Out to be written by and credited to all 4 members of the group at the time. And out of the various songs in Inside Out, this definitely feels like the most arena rock of the whole bunch. And that might be saying something. Something a bit like Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. Or that could just be me, since both these came out in 1987. It's essentially a love song, more clearly so than those before it here. And considering the seemingly continuous themes of the first 4 tracks in this album, thematically at least, this could likely be interpreted as either about Lou winning back the trust, faith, and love of the woman whose heart had once turned to stone, or maybe he had moved on and found a new love to call his own. As he feels it growing and surrounding when she comes straight out of nowhere, out of the blue, and into his heart. I guess this is trying to be another torch song or power ballad of sorts, like I Want to Know What Love Is, even if this doesn't exactly have the big amount of scale and gravitas that song had. And I'm sure even then, many people out there would still see soft rock music like this as mere 80s cheese, like with Say You Will. All that being said though, I wouldn't call this bad either. Just an average, easy listening kind of cheesiness. Like, say, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler or I Won't Hold You Back by Toto. The song comes out of the blue, then it goes back into the blue as soon as it finishes. And so our album ends with A Night to Remember. Again, not to be confused with the Shalimar song of the same name, although that one is really good, and this one is really good too in its own way. Another good old rocking track on par with something like Led Zeppelin or Magnum, about essentially wanting to have fun and go all wild in the night. He can't sleep tonight, and he won't sleep tomorrow. Maybe that's why he can't get no sleep and can't wait. He wants drums like thunder and guitars that scream. Then he's going to have to step on guitar's toes. A lot. And he wants a woman who can shake him and be his love machine to keep his motor running. So he wants to be shaken and played like a rattle? I've heard even weirder fetishes, and so have you. And while I like the choruses in most of the previous songs, this song's chorus is definitely a highlight for me. Lou Gramm just kills it here with his vocals, as well as the organ-esque keyboard that could be heard beneath. Just a fantastic filling layer to the overall music piece altogether. We got to and going to make tonight a night to remember. Going hard and strong again and again for a night without an end. So, like Nightman Moon, Lou Gramm also plans to cast the whole world in eternal night. Go figure. And soon after this track comes to an end, we hear what might be a little epilogue of sorts, a bit of synth to send off with, almost like a farewell in a way. Overall in all, this song alone is a brilliant rocker and a fabulous track to close out this LP. I can easily imagine driving fast down a long city street in the middle dead of night while this blazes on out. It's indeed a song to remember. And so, that was Inside Information by Foreigner, and it's alright, and quite honestly, underrated in a way. I guess after something like Agent Provocateur and its lead single, I Want to Know What Love Is, nothing else afterwards would be able to top it. In a way, this album would seem to mark the beginning of declining popularity and success for Foreigner, which may have been part of the overall reason why Lou would part ways from the band just a few years later. Aside from some creative differences with Mick, as well as wishing to focus more on his solo career, similar to Phil Collins from Genesis, and Peter Gabriel as well. All that being said though, most of the songs here really aren't that bad at all. If anything, I might actually consider a good chunk of them to be among Foreigner's best songs. Heart Turns to Stone, Say You Will, Counting Every Minute, the title song, Beat of My Heart, and A Night to Remember all definitely come to my mind. The album has an overall good balance between soft synth rock and hard classic rock roll as well, which I think benefits this in a way as well. So if you haven't listened to this album before and are wanting to listen to more of Foreigner, I do recommend checking this out and giving it a chance. But as for the many hardcore Foreigner fans out there who have already listened to this before, what do you think? Is this an underrated gem in your eyes and ears? Or is there another Foreigner album that you'd consider to be your favourite? Lay down your thoughts in the comments down below. Next time, as we get closer to that special day, let's do another top list. One counting down my favourite Christmas songs.